Good Friday, I guess. No one is here at the skate park other than me. So my topic that I decided to have today is the other day Matt from the Saltic neighborhood, right? He was asking like what was favorite era of skating in my years of skating, and just instinctively said 80s. And that's true in a way. The struggle that you sort of forget about, but it was all backyard ramps, you know, like after they bulldozed Earth Surf in '83, then it was definitely backyard ramps. That was it. I mean, there were some up before that came down anyway, but then it was strictly, and that was the way it was everywhere, really. You know, all the parks were gone, and it was all into the backyards, and that was great. That was probably even, you know, the best of my skating, mediocre being the best, but still the height of my abilities. But at the same time, there was also people just going off. You know, there were guys that skated the ramps and like were blasting big airs and just crazy stuff, and it was good to watch. But the more I thought about it later, after the fact, kind of isn't true, because I would say the 2000s would be my best favorite era, because there's skate parks everywhere now. I mean, just in this area alone, since the last 20 years, I mean, this park here was into 03, 04, Yap, Belleville. You know, there were concrete parks. And then even before that, Ramp Riders opened, and that was really great. I was skating there. When that place first opened, I skated there like for 2 weeks straight, like every night. And then after 2 weeks, I was like, well, why am I so tired? And that was why, because I'd been there every night skating for 3 or 4 hours. But like I said, I think that the aughts were my favorite period. And then for me personally, up till about 2012, when unfortunately everything went wrong with my vestibular system. But even then, you know, kept skating. There's, you know, in 2019, I went to Montana, skated, what, 11 parks in Montana built by Evergreen, one in Colorado, one in Wyoming, one in South Dakota, all in one trip over like a 3-week period. Down in Texas, skated Fredericksburg, Johnson City, Tyler, Texas, last May, or no, last June. So I think, you know, the 21st century is my favorite era of skating, just because of the amount of parks that are available. The 80s were great. There was a lot that happened, obviously. It's hard to really pick. I mean, I could even say when I first started skating was my favorite era, when it was just tic-tacking back and forth across the street on the driveway entrance ramps, doing 360s and 180s kick turns on the thing, or just skating in the parking lots. You know, building a crazy ramp in the yard, in the driveway that was completely wrong. All of that, you know, that was great too. So I guess at the end of the day, there's definitely highlights during all of it, except for the 90s. I didn't appreciate the 90s. But even in the 90s, you know, every so often I would skate the half pipe that Glenn had set up in a warehouse. It didn't happen too often, but did it. You know, just skating banks and whatever ditches if I found one. Certainly didn't skate as much then as I do now. I was still skating, but couldn't buy anything. Everything was, wheels were all too small and the pants were too big, as they say. But in general, yeah, I mean, it's just skateboarding, so they're all my favorite. As long as I'm skating, it's my favorite. Even with everything still, you know, I still can't skate big bowls, but still skating. So they're all my favorite. But that was what like I thought of later after the fact. I was like, you know, it really isn't, I just don't think it's the 80s. I mean, yeah, the 80s were great, and there was a lot of cool stuff that happened, and I had, you know, it was great, and had a lot of fun. But I think I prefer being able to just to go to a concrete skate park and skate is my favorite thing. So I'm just gonna skate the same old stuff and I'll film it so I can put it in with this really long rambling thing. All of skating is my favorite, so I guess that's the point. Just like everything else, it ain't much, but feels like something.